Smokey Robinson, at 85, still exudes the warmth and charm that made him an icon. Known for his soothing voice and poetic lyrics, he shaped the sound of Motown and the language of love through decades of music. Despite his many achievements, including being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame twice, Smokey has faced more than his fair share of challenges. Behind the curtain of success lies a story of personal loss, heartbreak, and resilience that shaped him as much as his music did. He may look youthful, but his life has been a journey of highs and lows, and his experiences have had a lasting impact on the man he is today. Early years in Detroit. The boy who dreamed big. Before the fame and fortune, Smokey Robinson was William "Smokey" Robinson Jr., a quiet boy growing up in the north end of Detroit. Raised by his hardworking mother, Flossie, and his older sister, Geraldine, Smokey learned early on the value of family. His father was often absent due to the unstable job market for Black men in Detroit, which left a void in Smokey's life. This absence would later influence his relationships and his pursuit of success. Detroit in the 1940s and 50s was a city in transformation, and Smokey absorbed the music that filled the streets, churches, and homes. He listened to artists like Jackie Wilson and Nolan Strong, whose influence would shape his own musical aspirations. By his teens, Smokey was writing songs and dreaming of a life in music. The formation of the Miracles and meeting Berry Gordy. By the late 1950s, Smokey was serious about his musical ambitions. He formed a group called the Five Chimes, later renamed the Matadors, before finally becoming the Miracles. The group rehearsed in basements, hoping for a breakthrough. It was during this time that Smokey met Berry Gordy, the visionary behind Motown. Gordy recognized Smokey's raw talent and quickly became his mentor, guiding him through the mechanics of the music business. The Miracles' breakout hit, Shop Around, in 1960, not only marked Motown's first million-selling single, but also solidified Smokey as a powerful force in music. This was just the beginning of Smokey's long and successful partnership with Gordy and Motown. The rise of Motown and Smokey's growing influence. As Motown expanded, Smokey Robinson's role within the label grew, and by the mid-1960s, he was not only a singer, but also a writer, producer, and vice president of the label. His songwriting and production were integral to the success of Motown's iconic sound. Smokey's lyrical style was unique, blending poetic language with everyday experiences, creating songs that resonated deeply with listeners. His influence stretched beyond the Miracles as he wrote for other Motown legends like Marvin Gaye, The Temptations, and Mary Wells. But with success came immense pressure. The fast-paced life of a star, the responsibility of guiding younger artists, and the demands of running a label left Smokey feeling stretched thin. Despite the success, there was a growing tension in his personal life that was hard to ignore. Smokey's personal life, marriage, and the challenges of fame. In 1959, Smokey married Claudette Rogers, a fellow member of the Miracles, and they became one of Motown's beloved couples. Their love was built on shared dreams, late-night rehearsals, and a mutual passion for music. However, the relentless touring schedule and the pressures of fame soon began to take a toll on their relationship. Claudette faced the challenges of being a wife and a performer while dealing with multiple miscarriages during the physically demanding tours. Smokey struggled with balancing his career, personal life, and the weight of his new responsibilities at Motown. Though their love was steady, the strain of their lifestyle created emotional distance. Their marriage, like many in the industry, was tested by the demands of their fame, and as the years went by, the cracks began to show. The complexities of fame, Smokey's relationship with Diana Ross. Amidst the success, Smokey's relationship with Diana Ross became one of the most complex and talked about aspects of his career. What began as a deep friendship blossomed into a romantic involvement, one that Smokey kept private for many years out of respect for their personal lives. Diana and Smokey shared an intense bond, having both started their careers at Motown under difficult circumstances. However, their relationship became strained when Diana noticed that Smokey still had unresolved feelings for his first wife, Claudette. On top of that, Diana's close relationship with Motown founder Berry Gordy added another layer of complexity to their dynamic. Eventually, the relationship ended, and Smokey would later reflect on it with mixed emotions, acknowledging the beauty of what they shared while also recognizing the difficult circumstances surrounding it. Shifting landscapes, Motown moves to Los Angeles. As Motown grew, so did the challenges. The move from Detroit to Los Angeles marked a new era for the label, and the industry began to change. Younger artists were emerging, and the pressures to maintain Motown's legacy became more difficult to navigate. Smokey, who had once thrived in Motown's tightly knit, family-oriented environment, now found himself in an increasingly commercialized world. The shift in leadership and the influx of new talent created a sense of distance from the close-knit, collaborative spirit of the early days. Smokey, who had been a constant presence at Motown, began to feel disconnected from the empire he helped build. This period marked the beginning of Smokey's search for something deeper, something more grounded, away from the glitz and glamour of the music industry. The breaking point: struggles with addiction and personal loss. By the 1980s, Smokey's personal life had reached a breaking point. His marriage to Claudette ended quietly in 1986 after years of emotional strain. At the same time, Smokey's life was increasingly consumed by addiction, a battle that had started out of sight but soon spiraled into a full-blown crisis. Substance abuse began to cloud his judgment, affect his health, and disrupt his relationships. The once steady, disciplined artist became lost in a haze of confusion and self-doubt. Smokey later described these years as a time of drifting away from the man he had once been. The pressures of fame, combined with personal challenges, left him feeling unanchored and uncertain. His relationship with Motown also suffered as the label underwent changes, and Smokey found himself disconnected from the people and the music that once gave him purpose. Recovery and a return to music, a new beginning. In the mid-1980s, Smokey began his journey to recovery. With the support of close friends, he confronted his addiction and began to reclaim his life. His spiritual journey helped him rediscover his sense of purpose, and in 1987, he released One Heartbeat, an album that marked his artistic revival. The calmness in his voice and the clarity in his music reflected the transformation he had undergone. Smokey returned to his roots, not just as an artist, but as a man who had faced personal darkness and emerged stronger. Though the road to recovery was long and difficult, it marked a new chapter in his life, one defined by inner peace and a renewed commitment to his music. A final chapter: marriage and reflection. After his recovery, Smokey found love again with Frances Gladney, an interior designer, whom he married in 2002. Their relationship began as a friendship and slowly evolved into a deep, lasting bond. The couple lived a relatively private life, away from the spotlight that had once been all-consuming. Smokey's career continued, but his focus shifted from fame to family, spirituality, and personal growth. However, in 2025, Smokey's reputation was shaken by allegations from former housekeepers who accused him of misconduct. The lawsuit and subsequent legal battles drew attention, challenging the image of the beloved Motown icon. Despite the legal proceedings, Smokey and his wife have denied the allegations and continue to fight for their good name. The legacy of Smokey Robinson. Throughout his long and storied career, Smokey Robinson has remained a symbol of resilience, creativity, and the enduring power of music. From his early days in Detroit to his rise at Motown and his personal struggles, Smokey's life has been anything but simple. His music has touched generations, and his contributions to the industry are immeasurable. However, his legacy is not just defined by his achievements, but by his ability to overcome personal challenges and continue to create music that speaks to the heart. Smokey Robinson's journey is one of triumph, heartache, recovery, and redemption. A reminder that even legends are human.